All right, so back to where we were, capacity for emotional experience, the hedonistic dopamine, serotonin, eudaimonia, in the center, you're gonna have this like flow, which I'll explain in a different video. Um, when I start talking about like anxiety and all that stuff. So what I wanted to get into was this second part. So the way I guess to think of it is that there's so let me explain this quadrant. You have on the left, you have hedonic, eudaimonic, top you have positive, negative. And so one action can be the same, however, it just falls into different parts of the quadrant. So let's say you're going out getting fucked up, right? That's the action. The thing to know about that, which would be a hedonistic action, right? Because it's kind of a pleasure seeking action. Um, a pleasure seeking action. So it's a hedonistic action. And you know that that's dopamine, which triggers more intense emotions. Now, the thing that's important here is, are you going out to drink to escape something, or are you going out to drink to add um to have a positive hedonistic experience? So, and it really, I think it works that if you're not fulfilling your long-term goals, if you feel like you're not making progress towards a eudaimonic life, you're not moving closer to where you want to be in the future, you tend to want to escape. So if you're in a situation where you got no money, maybe you got no friends, or you got a couple friends, but you're in a bad situation with your relationship, or things are going on in your life, and you just got to go out and drink. You're trying to escape the moment. You're trying to escape the emotions. You're trying to escape the feeling, and so you go out and you drink, or you smoke, or you do whatever. That's a negative. That action would be a net negative in terms of the hedonistic action. So now if we reframe that same action, um, but we reframe the context around it as, okay, maybe you just got a promotion at your job, or you just got into school, or the season's finished and you guys did really well that season, or your girlfriend has good news or something like that, and now you're going out drinking. That's the same action. It's the same hedonistic action, but it's a positive action. It's a positive dopamine release, because the context of it is it's in line with where you're trying to go in the future, which is in line with the eudaimonia, which is in line with the eudaimonic. So having a baseline of eudaimonia, of purpose, of long-term vision, and then balancing that out with periods of hedonism, positive hedonism, I think is a good formula to go about it. And that's something that I've noticed for myself. And I use this basically all the time. And I notice it when when I'm going out, or doing things because I'm stressed out and I need to escape, which is okay, sometimes. But that is difficult, because that sometimes turns into a pattern real quick, and it becomes a cycle where you're going out, you're escaping more, you're not getting on top of what you need to get on top of, and it's creating more of a overwhelming feeling. So you're going out more to escape that feeling because it's so overwhelming. And then the more you do that, the less you're on top of it. Um, so it's important to notice when you get that feeling, and when you recognize it, like, oh shit, I'm like I'm actually not taking the right steps to solve my situation. I'm just running away from the situation. And once you can understand that, then there's steps, there's things that you can do to kind of get back on your path. A lot of times where this need comes from, where anxiety comes from, where all these things come from, is being just too overwhelmed with everything. Like, you know, just being overwhelmed with the world, being overwhelmed with responsibilities, being overwhelmed with all the shit that just comes with day-to-day stuff. And it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And this kind of creates like a paralysis of inaction, and the inaction just just breeds more inaction. And the way to solve that is to just get real active and proactive about it. And so I guess I'm having a hard time thinking of some negative eudaimonic actions. I think negative eudaimonic actions, I guess, would be maybe something more like a collection or a period of negative hedonistic action. So like if you go out and drink once, all right, you did it, that would be an instance of one negative hedonistic action. Now, if you're going out drinking over a period, let's say a week, a month, a year, that's negative eudaimonic. Because now we're really taking away from your long-term vision, your long-term future self, and what that means. And then eudaimonic, I think eudaimonic positive action is a little bit more monotonous. It's a little bit more bland. So that could be something like cleaning on the weekends, uh, getting groceries for yourself, cooking for yourself, taking care of yourself, going on a walk, working out, making sure you're getting enough sunshine, making sure you're spending enough time with some friends, making sure that you're actually taking concrete steps towards your goals. So maybe reading an hour a day or working on a project throughout the day, or but it has to span a period. It has to span, it has to span over a long-term period, and that is uh eudaimonic, and that's what breeds serotonin, is taking those monotonous actions that contribute towards your long-term goals, which here eudaimonic serotonin. When you're involved in the chase, it's like, if we're back to the championship example, if you're working 3 years to get to that championship and you finally win, those 3 years, the day-to-day actions of those 3 years are really monotonous. You're going to practice, you're doing the same shit every day, you're eating the diet, you're waking up, you're doing this, da 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 da. It feels monotonous, but that's how it should feel. But only in those times of monotony can you actually get any kind of like momentum, because you're building. If you add one day, you add another one the next day, you add another one the next day, you add another one the next day. Next thing you know, you're far out, bro. Like you're up there. And so when you're taking those actions, that's actually the serotonin. Uh, and then you just need to balance it out. You reward yourself with positive hedonistic actions, whatever it is that you got to do. Um, just go ahead and do that. So I'll continue to break this down, because this leads into a lot of other topics and kind of visuals and stuff that I made, that might be able to help. But these are some things that have helped me, and yeah, we'll get into it on the next video. All right. Shit, I gotta stop recording.